I understand. Yeah. I'm not saying that you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm also correct. It doesn't matter.
Are you sure?
I'm 1,000,000% positive. I had this argument at work 4 years ago, and I argued it to death. And we literally asked an English professor, and they said I was correct. They said it sounds dumb, but I'm still correct.
See that the sweet tarts and the nerds are at the forefront of the candy bag. Is there a bias in this household?
The only thing I like in that candy bag is Butterfinger.
What about the Babe Ruths?
Nope. Gross.
I'm a big fan of Babe Ruths. Thank you.
Well, you can have them.
You don't like the sweetness of a sweet tart?
No, I don't like candy. I like chocolate.
It says fresh and grace.
I bet.
I like the
I don't like it. I don't like candy, and I really don't like most chocolates, I guess, is what I'm learning. Because I only like the Butterfinger. I don't like Crunch. I don't like Baby Ruth.
What about Hershey's? Classic Hershey's.
Well, to be fair, Hershey's chocolate just isn't that great. I'd rather have so many other different chocolates.
Let's go. I don't like Hershey chocolate either, except for the
cookies and cream.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's okay, though. Symphony's good, and technically that is Hershey.
Yeah.
But the reason why that's good is because I actually tried with that one.
You mean it's technically Hershey? Hershey's name is right on there.
Yeah, it's exactly what I meant. It is technically Hershey's. I'm still correct.
Well, when you say technically, it means like they tried to hide their name or something.
Well, it's little.
It's little, but
I'm still right, Thane. I don't care. Hello, everybody.
I'm with you on this.
Welcome to Talking Rad. This is episode 202.
It is in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Wait, what do you mean Pirates of the Caribbean?
Disney tried to hide their name off the posters because it was a PG-13 movie.
Okay. I understand that Hershey's name is on the candy bar and that it's like displayed, but just saying the word technically it is Hershey's doesn't mean that I'm not wrong. They are putting it in tiny letters, so it's not as most like if you like just random people on the street, if you ask people, do you know what a symphony bar is? And they go, yeah. They go, who makes it? They might not know. I think you'd be surprised.
Okay, I mean it's on there.
I know it's not on there. I'm just saying I'm correct still. I can still say technically.
It comes in those nugget packets.
What's a nugget packet?
This little nugget, chocolate nugget things. Like they're thick.
I don't know what a nugget packet is.
They're kind of like Hershey's. Also a wait. It's kind of like Kisses. Also a Hershey product. They're like Kisses, but they're like square.
And it's a symphony.
Yeah, they got Symphony, they got Crinkle.
You mean just like baby fun size?
Yeah, they call them nuggets.
I've never heard that called nugget packet.
You don't know?
We'll see what happens when we Google chocolate nugget.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I've just never heard this one.
I've never heard it either.
Chocolate nugget.
Oh my gosh.
There it is. Oh, they're the thick boys.
Yeah, the thick boys.
It literally says nugget right on there.
Yeah, I would never have gotten that one.
I think that goes to show you how much Cole and I don't like Hershey's.
Now, I type in Symphony Bar. Like right there on the logo. I know it's not. I know it's there. I'm not trying to say it's not. I've never once said it's not on the logo. Quit trying to get that in my mouth.
I think Thane is he's thrown off by the word technically.
Yeah. They definitely put the logo straight on there, obviously. That's very obvious. Yeah, I'm not trying to say it's not. I never once said that.
I think it's the implication of the word technically that Thane has just fixated
and I implied that the Hershey's logo is not prominent, or it's not prominently a Hershey's thing, even though it's made by Hershey's. Like I was saying, I think if you went to random people on the street and asked them what a symphony bar is, they probably wouldn't know it's Hershey's. It's not the thing you. It's not the thing you focus on the logo. I know it's right there.
It's right.
Quit trying to tell me I'm dumb because I know it's right there. It's the people on those streets I'm talking about, not you guys listening to our podcast. Obviously, you guys are geniuses.
Cole's just slinging shots.
I'm slinging shots all over because I'm trying to defend myself because I'm still correct. Just because I said a specific word doesn't mean I'm wrong. It's like when I called a candle scent a flavor of a candle.
It's a scent.
It's a flavor.
Nah, it's a scent.
No, it's a flavor. That's a legitimate way to say the kind of a candle. That's a flavor of a candle.
I don't know.
Flavors taste.
It can go anyway,
Yeah,
dude. It can literally go anyway.
I don't care about the technicalities of this one. I think they're both correct because your scent and taste are completely
It's
linked.
a fragrance.
Welcome to the English language,
no,
bitch.
no.
I'm right.
No.
It's so bad. The English
Fragrance.
sucks.
I've never
Fragrance.
seen Cole get this heated.
It's because
That's
I'm
not true.
right. Plus, I wanted to say the funny word that Jesse Pinkman does in the show.
I'll tell you right now, it's probably fragrances, scent, taste.
I
Flavors.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm also correct. It doesn't matter.
Are you sure?
I'm 1,000,000% positive. I had this argument at work 4 years ago, and I argued it to death. And we literally asked an English professor, and they said I was correct. They said it sounds dumb, but I'm still correct. Look at this boy freaking trying to Google me into existence.
No, he didn't
dude.
Google. He Firefoxed. Oh wait, no, there's
Well,
a
it's
Google
still gonna be
logo there.
freaking Google. Yeah, it is.
So Google.
He's trying to freaking Google me out of existence right here. I'm over here gathering the infinity stones of like stupid words that can be used in dumb contexts.
It just says a distinctive taste of food or drink.
There's multiple definitions for words, Zane. Multiple definitions. You just look at
So
the
look at
first
the
top
definition
one.
of scent,
Indication
then.
of essential character of
Look-
something.
No,
Essential character of something. Boom. A scent.
Look up scent and essential are two different words.
I'm not saying that sensual means. Oh my god.
I don't know what you were trying
I'm
to
having
imply
an
there.
aneurysm. Okay, read that second definition you just did. I wasn't trying to imply that sensual meant the word scent, Skylar. Gosh, dude, I'm not
Read it
dumb.
again. I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm trying
The
to
second
understand
one you
you
said?
Yeah, no, the one you said.
The indication of essential character or something.
Sensual character. That's like a
Essential.
essential.
Yes.
Yeah, an essential characteristic. I would define a scent as an essential characteristic of a thing.
I would agree.
Thank you. Boom.
It's literally one of the five senses. Look up the definition of scent. What if it has the word flavor right in the definition?
That'd be very
Distinctive
funny. I
smell.
don't think it will.
Especially one that's pleasant. A trail indicated the character's smell of an animal, perceptible by hounds or other animals.
What's dumb is like I'm pretty dang positive we've talked about this before because I brought like when I was arguing with my work coworkers, I remember talking about this with all of you guys, the flavor thing.
I think for me, it started as a because I remember doing this in high school. It started as kind of a meme for myself. Like I would smell something like, oh, that's a great flavor, or I'd taste something and I would say it smells great. I
never
use them
referred to it.
interchangeably.
You can't use smell interchangeably. That one definitely specifically means the scent. Yeah. You can't
I
use
would say
you,
scent. It's like, what scent is that?
Right, I
you can't-
said it as
you
a meme.
You okay as a meme, sure,
Yes,
but
as a
the
meme.
other one is correct. I'm trying to be like
Wait,
factually
which
correct.
way's correct?
You can use the word flavor for any like variation of a thing. Doesn't matter if it's a taste or a scent or anything. But you can't use the word smell. Like you can't. What did you say? That scent or whatever.
Scent.
What did
I
Skylar
would
say?
I would eat something and say, oh, it smells great.
Yeah, you can't use that. You can't. Smell specifically means scent.
But
It
what
doesn't
if I
mean anything
smell the
else.
thing and taste it at the same time?
I mean that works. That
Smell it, then
specifically is
taste it.
okay. Yeah, because you're smelling it.
Sometimes pungent
But
things will go
you
through
can't
your nose.
you can't replace the word smell for taste. You can use the word flavor for smell
And taste.
and taste, or literally anything else. It could be like that flavor of a tire on a car because it's got this tread pattern. That's the flavor of it. You can use it for literally anything. That's how stupid the word is. I'm not trying to say it's a good word. I'm just saying it's stupid.
It's a blanket statement.
It's a blanket statement. Yeah. You can't use smell as a blanket statement. You can use it for the meme, and if you're talking about what you're eating, yeah, it still technically applies because you're smelling the food you eat. But
Are you happy, Thane? Are you satisfied with the
No.
conclusion we came to? Wait, where are you thrown off at by?
the fact I'm using the word flavor for anything else other than food.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry,
use it
bro.
for
Things
food.
got two definitions. Welcome to English. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that when you read the definition of flavor,
refuse. Okay, so I'll just refuse.
You can't though.
To
You
use-
literally cannot. Oh yeah, you can refuse to use it, but
Yeah.
you can't refuse that it's a word.
Yeah, I'll pretend it doesn't exist. Not the word, just the fact that people use it for a scent.
I don't think
I'll use it.
anyone.
I'm gonna use it all the time.
I don't think anyone I know uses it besides
Wanna-
Cole and myself.
Want to know why? The argument at work started is because I just used it naturally in a sentence to describe a smell. I just happen to say, yeah, that flavor of candle's great or something like that. And then somebody's like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, what do you mean I can't do that? It's correct.
I'm in
dummy.
America, buddy.
I'm like, dumb F, it's correct. I'm
Oh,
right.
no,
I know
if anyone in the
English.
comments wants to
To chime in
this.
on fact, okay. Had good luck, buddy.
Cole's
Well,
not
then
somebody
someone
you'll ever
comes
win
down,
an
it's like-
argument with. Cole's like, man, I hope one day that you film you and your wife like having an argument about something silly like this. I want to watch and eat popcorn.
So I've come to the conclusion that I like to argue things if I know I'm 100% correct. If there is no flaw in my argument, I like to argue it. And the other things that I've tried arguing where I'm not 100% correct, I get shaky. I'm not good at arguing them. There's like holes in my feet all over the place because I'm not 100% invested in my correctness.
You have a Swiss cheese argument.
It's got
All right,
holes.
Now go
all
on.
over.
Now moving on to other arguments. Pal World is, well, I don't know if we brought it up, but Pal World is getting sued by Nintendo for patent. Well, they did put a patent. It's not air quotes. They did put a patent on.
As resident Pokemon man, may
Yeah.
I make the first comment on this?
Yeah, sure.
So, the patents that they are suing them for are throwing an object at a creature and catching them, and I believe writing a creature in a specific way. I don't quite get. Well, hold on. I'm not done with my statement.
Okay.
I'm done with my statement. I believe these patents started the process before Pal World was released. Even though they got the patent after Pal World was released, they started the process before it was released. So all the people saying that they patented it after it was released, that's all stupid. That's dumb. Second thing, it's dumb that they're patenting these things. I'll say
Yeah.
this right here. It's dumb that they're patenting these things, but they did. So I don't know what to say after
Here's the thing about the animal writing, like the ball catching, like, yeah, that's kind of unique, like, and they might have a case, but the creature writing, the animal writing, that falls.
I think it's
That
specific.
falls way too close into horse writing.
No. I think it's got to be some very specific
Yeah.
thing. It's
Very
like
tiny thing.
it's not like, oh, you can't ride horses in your games now because
Yeah.
we're Pokemon and we say
Yeah.
you, dude.
That sounds like what they'd say. It's like you can't ride horses anymore.
But they didn't say that. I think
know.
it's something very specific.
No, but it's like there have been games where you ride a creature. You just don't ride a horse. You ride a creature.
I'm thinking
and
it's like you're getting carried like cradled like a baby. You got a freaking guy on your shoulder like like
That's
that. I think that's what it is.
That's happened before too. I'm pretty sure. If you
I
go
believe
look
it.
up,
I'm
like,
just saying I think that's specifically what they're talking about is things like that. And that's what they patent. And I imagine, like I said, I think the patents for that part, I know the ball one was before Pal was released, but the other ones I think they were probably patent before and they just got the patent after the fact. Once again, I think it's dumb. I'm just going to say that. It is dumb that they can just patent these things. It goes back to just patenting game mechanics can be dumb in my opinion. But they did, okay? So, like, I mean, it is what it is.
Imagine that like Fortnite patented a battle pass, or that
they can't.
They
whoever
tried to, didn't
whoever
they?
started loot boxes
they
patented that.
No. So PUBG. No, well, PUBG just like tried to sue Fortnite for like infringement of IP or something because like the battle bus is too similar to the.
Oh, I thought
drop
Fortnite tried
plane.
patenting the battle pass.
No, PUBG tried to sue them because they were like saying they were blatantly ripping them off.
I'm not talking about that. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the battle pass specifically. I thought
I
Fortnite
don't
tried
know.
patenting that because
I
I
don't
remember they
know.
were like when battle passes started becoming big, a lot of people strayed away from the word battle pass because that's what Fortnite used,
they
and so
want-
that's
they
why I
want,
thought it
Like
was patented.
season pass
Season
or
pass. No, not season pass. That's just for DLC in general. Like combat pass or cowpoke pass, like for Red Dead. Like
Cowpoke
Yeah.
pass. I want that one. I'm
I
buying
think they call it like the Outlaws pass.
I'm buying
or
it. Red
something.
Dead. Give me that cowpoke pass.
Yeah.
I think I find it more fun when they're creative with their battle passes instead of just calling it a battle pass.
Yeah, and I also like when they
like the
actually.
dual pass in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master.
Yeah. I also like when they actually keep the battle passes around rather than change them and said, "Oh, you're gonna have to wait like a year for that shit, buddy." It's like, okay.
I think that there should be a discussion. I always hate when the government gets involved, but I feel like something like this, It's so tough because you're not just dealing with the United States. Obviously, this one specifically is in Japan.
Yeah, both companies, Pocket Pair and Nintendo, are both located in Japan, so they can settle that domestically.
Right. I guess what I'm trying to get at is I think there needs to be a gaming wide discussion and agreement upon that you can't copyright game mechanics.
Well, that's just for copyright.
Patent game mechanics.
That's just for patents in general, like a whole worldwide thing where it's like, hey, you can't infringe upon this country's copyright.
And here's my biggest reason for it.
Patent.
So Warner Brothers, they patented the Nemesis system in the Lord of the Rings video games. I think it's so, it's cool that they created it. I wish that they would allow something like that to continually be innovated upon. And we're never going to get it. And it's really
not
sad.
until the patent goes up, unless they renew patents. But I don't know. I don't know if, how patents work if you don't do anything. I think you have to prove that you've been making money off it or something. I don't know how patents work, but, patents can go out of effect, and then people can that's what happened with Lego. They made a patent for, say, all right, we have these specific plastic bricks that you can connect together. That's our patent. Goes up, clones everywhere. So
looping back, knowing the way that Nintendo and Game Freak and Creatures treat their IP, I would assume that this patent was an extension of, we created this thing for the game. At this time, it would have been Legends Arceus that he did the ball throwing thing. Yeah. I imagine the writing Pokemon was also an extension of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and Legends Arceus. And so they have this, we created this idea, and it's pretty dang tied. I mean, specifically the ball throwing, I would say, was pretty dang tied to Pokemon. Throwing a ball object at a creature and then the creature going inside of the ball. The first thing that comes to most people's heads would be Pokemon. And so knowing Game Freak, Nintendo, and Creatures, the way, like I said, the way they treat their IP is they don't want any bad image. If they can possibly have no bad image for Pokemon, that's their idea. And so that's probably why they patented this thing, because the first thing comes to your mind is Pokemon with something like this. And so anything that's in the future that would come out, it just so happened that Palworld was literally within the year and a half or two of them deciding to patent this thing, and they were working on something, and they didn't want they wouldn't want an image of Pokemon represented as a not for everyone idea, I guess.
Wielding machine guns, wielding AK-47s.
And so, it also doesn't help Palworld's case that they do give them guns and stuff, and that is very against the Pokemon idea as a whole.
Yeah, it's not Pokemon, though. People can see that.
No, they can't, Thane. Your Joe Schmo on the street, they see the freaking little monkey running around with an AK-47. They go, look at that Pokemon Go, dude. You caught him in a poke. That's cool.
Here's the thing. I've seen Palworld.
I understand. You're a gamer,
It's not
Thane.
graphic. It's just, they just
Thane,
have guns. Kids play Fortnite.
Thane, you're a gamer. You're a gamer, Thane.
I'm a gamer.
You get all this stuff. I'm talking the moms and dads are going to see this little monkey running around with an AK-47 and go, not in my Pokemon. You can't play that, Timmy. No more Pokemon for you. They're giving them guns now. See what I'm saying?
But say it's not Pokemon, it's Palworld.
Dude, try telling that to parents, okay? You freaking grew up with parents, and you had to tell them, I can play Yu-Gi-Oh! They got satanic monsters, and it's okay, I promise, Mom.
I didn't tell my mom about the satanic shit.
You get what I'm saying, though, right?
I understand your argument. I still don't think that's not the main issue I see is the game mechanic itself. Did they trademark?
Yeah, I'm not trying to justify it or, defend it. I'm just claiming this is probably why they patented this thing.
I see. Yeah. I think that companies should be able to patent and trademark items that are created, like the Master Sword for Zelda or a Pokeball itself. Those are very unique.
I think it's very hard to copyright the Master Sword because it has roots from Arthur legend, where it's the sword and the stone, which is not the Excalibur.
Sure, I'm talking about the designs specifically. Pokemon should be able to trademark / copyright their individual Pokemon designs.
Oh, they do.
This is Pikachu.
They do.
This is ours.
They don't do all of them. They do the popular ones.
But game mechanics, I just disagree. I think that they should not be able to do game mechanics because I like it when different devs take something and then expound upon it and make it better.
Like Dark Souls, like if From Software copyrighted that mechanic after Dark Souls a hit of like, okay, you can rest at a checkpoint and you can level up by that checkpoint or a certain character. And if they patent that, we wouldn't have games like Black Myth Wukong, Lies of P.
Oh, those games all suck.
Let's go before that though.
If you're a Dark Souls fan.
Let's go before that. Resident Evil. They had the typewriter system. They copyrighted that. Let's go before that. Ocarina of Time.
The typewriter?
No. This is theoretically. Oh. Let's go farther back. Ocarina of Time. They patented Z targeting. No more targeting.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, think how far we've come. Or like Mario 64 or whatever the first 3D game was where you have a camera that you're navigating. You know what I mean? Oh, we copyrighted the in-game camera.
Oh, imagine Resident Evil 4, Shinji Mikami, he comes up with the brilliant idea of camera behind the shoulder when you're in third-person shooter. There is no third-person shooter today that doesn't have that. What if Capcom patented that? We wouldn't have Gears of War. We wouldn't have Max Payne 3.
We wouldn't have GTA. Bye-bye.
Well, GTA didn't have that until like 4.
Wasn't 3 over the shoulder?
No.
You're directly behind the camera.
Oh.
Yeah. Like you shoot, but then like the reticle comes up and your character's still there. It's like you'd have to look it up. But yeah, we wouldn't have all these third-person shooters because Capcom decided to patent that little mechanic.
Think about every kart racer clone that you have something that you hit, and now you have items.
To be fair, all kart racers suck, save for Mario Kart and Mod Nation racers. So like, I could take the L on Mod Nation
what about
racers.
Sonic All Stars Transform?
What about Nickelodeon kart racers?
Sucks bad. We
what
only
about
needed
Diddy
Mario
Kong
Kart.
Racing?
What about
bad.
Crash? What about
L.
Crash Team Racing?
We only needed Mario
Think about
Kart,
every
let's be real.
racing game though. What if whoever the first company decided that we're gonna copyright the ability to change from first person to third person view in our racer? Now no one else can do that.
The one that did it was I don't remember. I think who did it first?
Probably Test Drive.
Yeah, Test Drive. If EA, well, I don't know if EA owned Test Drive by then, but actually, I don't know who owns Test Drive right now. It's a dead franchise.
So let's go back to the Pokemon thing, though. Let's say that this actually goes through and
No, it did go through. They have the patent.
Right. No. I'm saying like this lawsuit. Like, let's say Nintendo wins. So now is it specifically no game can use the mechanic of throwing something at a something? Like throwing let's say it's a triangle or a fishing pole.
Specifically
you
a ball shape.
So it has to be specifically the ball.
Yeah.
So if you change it to a square, you're good.
It'd be fine. And that's probably what Power World's going to end up doing.
Maybe
they're probably going to just swap the thing to
if you did a net, like yeah, that would be
It's specifically the ball, not only just the ball, but the ball that opens up in half, grabs the monster inside, and closes back up. And that's literally what Power World does.
So it's not the idea of being able to walk in real time and throw something at the creature.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's literally the fact that it's like a ball shape and all that, and the creature goes inside of the ball. Granted, it could go a little farther. I think it's just the ball thing, though.
And I guess
because like they didn't get mad at Temtem. Temtem is an obvious Pokemon clone, and they have like a card shape, like a credit card shaped thing that they throw at their Temtem, and they go inside the card, and that's okay. They didn't get mad at that. Granted, they didn't have the patent back then. But they're not like going back and getting them, you know.
And to be fair, I find it more charming and interesting when companies do cool stuff like that. Like Power World, they have guns. Why don't you make a gun where you can suck them up or something, or whatever, a bug net?
Oh yeah,
anything.
Like it's like
change from the balls to just a gun. It has like a special bullet.
Dude, that's what it should have been the whole time, dude.
Or
Power World has been freaking like creatively. What is it? Creatively
stifled, stunted,
there's a specific
bankrupt.
Power World's been creatively bankrupt since the start, dude. They literally copied so much from Pokemon. So like, it's like why even bother trying to make creative things like a gun that catches them? Because They can just copy Pokemon and try to get away with it. Well, now they're not getting away with it. Granted,
They
it's a
made
stupid
money.
reason why they're not getting away with it, but like it's just I don't know.
I see where you're coming from, Cole, and I agree. You can tell. Not I haven't played Pal World. Let me throw that out there, but you can tell when game companies, even when they're actively copying / cloning something, you can tell when creativity is thrown in there and they try to change things. One of my specific examples that I love is Lies of P, that blatant ripoff of Dark Souls, clone like carbon copy, but it's very creative, and they added more game mechanics that honestly make the Soul series better, in my opinion.
There's like 5% creativity in Pal World, in my opinion. And those are just some of the creatures that are unique and interesting looking. Everything else in Pal World is just a ripoff of something else. Like, we got the building from Fortnite, more or less, because it's like a grid base and it's stuck to squares like mats and stuff. You got obviously the survival mechanics from Ark. Clearly the Pokemon. Even like a PC storage system similar to Pokemon, the Pokeball. Literally, they just said, all right, let's take Ark and Pokemon and shove them together.
And I would argue that that's still something new. That's new.
No, yeah. I'm not saying that it's not new. I'm saying like the ideas behind them are not new at all. They literally just didn't come up with anything new other than I mean, to be fair, they didn't even come up with the idea of making a survival Pokemon game. Like, people have been wanting that for 20 plus years at this point. They've been saying on the internet, "Where's our survival Pokemon game?" Some guy just decided to do it.
To me, it sounds like it's Ark Survival, but instead of dinosaurs, it's Pokemon or these mystical creatures. Rather.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's almost more Ark Survival than Pokemon.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I gathered from everything that I've seen. I think why people are really up in arms is, for one, everybody's dogpiling on Pokemon. Like, we've seen it since the release of Scarlet and Violet last couple
I'd say
years.
Sword and Shield, but yeah.
Sword and Shield.
So I would say you got the dogpile culture. Like, everybody's mad at Pokemon and Nintendo for various reasons. And also people like the idea of competition or alternatives or something that's new and different. And I would argue that at least some of the game mechanics I've seen with Pal World, although they may be copying from different genres, put together, that is something that's new and different.
I think your outlook is way too optimistic than it actually is. I think it's just people love dogpiling on Pokemon and they love dogpiling on big boy Nintendo right now. Literally, Nintendo does something, they just hate them for it.
Sure, but if Pal World wasn't a good game, nobody would care. If people didn't have fun, nobody would care.
If no, I don't think so. I think if Nintendo was like, say Pal World sucked, but it was still like copying Pokemon and they were stealing them, I guarantee you people would be mad at Nintendo still.
I don't think the scale of what it is people would care. Like, no one cares about bad video games. They just don't.
I think any chance of dogpiling the Nintendo, they would do it.
Sure,
I really
but
do.
I don't think that if the game wasn't popular, nobody would care. Why would they care? Nobody cares unless they enjoy the game and it's
Welcome to
popular.
the internet where people care about things they don't care about.
They went after.
I would have to see an example then of something like this.
I mean,
where
Thane gets mad at everything that he doesn't care about. That's my example.
I'm talking about a game specifically that is not popular. Nintendo does something about it and people get mad.
I get about.
I would need
more
examples
mad
of
about things
that.
I care about, things I don't care about.
It's a different conversation. Sorry, I brought that up.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think if Pal World sucked and didn't sell well and nobody cared, nobody would care about this lawsuit. And honestly, the lawsuit may not even happen. Who freaking knows?
I don't know if I could even say what I think, but I think that people would be pretty up in arms regardless of how popular the game is or not.
It sounds like Pokemon is scared that Pal World is going to take away business, and it's like,
oh, that's not at all. They don't give a crap about that.
Yeah, it's like people are still going to buy Pokemon.
No, like I said earlier, I think it's an image thing. I don't think they once ever were worried about them losing market share because of this game. That was never an issue. They know Pal World is literally just their Pokemon just in different shapes and stuff, so it's not going to take anything away from them. They have the originals, and more or less. I'm pretty sure it's literally just an image thing where they don't want parents thinking that Pokemon run around with guns now. They don't want Pikachu slitting people's necks now.
I don't think that happens, but okay.
I I see it in my head. I don't see how patenting that game mechanic would make any difference of how people or view it anyway. Because if the patent is specifically the ball thing, all they have to do is change it to a gun or a triangle or a frisbee
Then it's
or
fine.
whatever.
That's what they want.
So,
I'm sure that's what Pokemon wants them to do, is to change it.
yeah, then that still is not going to change the little grandma that sees a monkey with guns. Like,
I kind of disagree. I with that, because like the idea of throwing the ball is uniquely Pokemon, and that's why they're trying to patent it, or that's why they patent it, because it's very like, oh, we throw a ball at a creature that makes a Pokemon. Just because there's other they see a Disney creature, they don't think it's Pokemon. They see a Pokemon at a ball, yeah, that goes right to Pokemon. Like I said, that's the first thing I think of. I would I think most people, the first thing they would think of if they see a creature being caught in a ball, they'd go, oh, Pokemon.
I see what you're saying. I disagree. I think it's not going to change the image, because I think it's more so a grandma sees the creature and thinks Pokemon, rather than grandma sees the creature plus ball and sees the Pokemon.
I see what you're saying as well. I would just go one step further to make the argument that I think the image of Pokemon already has decreased a little bit since Power World released in general. The thing that Nintendo did even fight back, which was the models of the creatures being what is it? Like, I don't know what the word. It's like very obviously Pokemon. Like they literally took some Pokemon and just traced over the model and called it a day. They might have even just taken the models. We don't actually know.
Right.
And so I would argue that the image of Pokemon already has degraded because of this game.
Right.
I think this would be the next step, and that's why they're trying to protect this next thing.
Right, and I see what you're saying. I just don't see how changing the shape of the object thrown is going to change the image of Pokemon, or how people perceive Power World versus Pokemon.
Yeah, I get what you're
anyway.
saying with that too. It's just the fact that it's the image. The image of the ball is Pokemon.
I see what you're saying.
Like you look at a Pokeball. You look at a ball that catches a freaking creature. Like, you literally have a baseball. Say you have a baseball that opens up and catches a freaking squirrel on the side of the road. IRL. What are you thinking? That's Pokemon. That's literally Pokemon.
Sure.
But, like, if you have, like, a box all of a sudden that you're catching a Pokemon, you're just saying, oh, it's a cage. I'm just grabbing the squirrel. It's mine now. There's a freaking feral cat. Throw it in a cage. It's a box. Heck,
that's
going
actually
so
that'd
farther,
be on brand for Power World.
exactly. Going so far as to making it, you shoot a gun and it catches a creature, and that's incredibly wholly unique. That's so far removed from Pokemon that you would never think that.
Yeah, just like have a little laser goes and then sends to computer.
Yeah, boom, done.
Or
That's
even
actually pretty cool.
like a
We should pitch
scanner
that.
tool
It's
or
like, hey,
something.
No, they wouldn't like it. That's too creative.
I
Dave.
know.
They don't like creativity in their workplace.
Okay, you want to be more creative?
I think, by the way, I think I'm allowed to have a lot of these opinions because I've played, I think, at least 10 hours of Power World, and I've put a significant amount of Pokemon, so I think I'm allowed to have these opinions on these things.
Anybody can have any opinion. Like, it
I
doesn't
know.
matter.
I just want to, I guess my opinion, I feel like, has, weight to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I also want to bring up that Pocket Pair made a deal with Sony that to help with their franchise. So if Nintendo does go to court, Sony could be behind them on the lawsuit.
What I'm hoping, regardless of the outcome, because I don't know how many games Pocket Pair's made. Obviously,
This is
this
their
one.
first game, I'm
Okay,
pretty sure.
so then that.
No. It's their second. They made another game called Craftopia, which is pretty much a Breath of the Wild clone with survival elements.
Did anyone?
And you throw and here's the thing: you throw a square to catch animals.
So it's the same thing. Did they
Not
just
really.
innovate on that and made this game?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I'm pretty sure they abandoned that game. And also another game they got coming out is literally a Hollow Knight clone.
Honestly,
job, company. Good job.
I'm completely fine with that as long as they take whatever that is and innovate upon it.
Yeah.
Like, make something good. Because you could argue that Hollow Knight is a clone of other games, like Metroidvania.
It's a Metroidvania Souls-like hybrid, pretty much.
Right. They took two genres and smashed them together, and it's something
that
new.
inspired games like Nine Souls.
I see where you're coming from, by the way, and I agree. I think it's great that companies will take games and innovate on them and do something else with them. This is if we're talking like Hollow Knight is like a jump or a step even away from like Metroid and Castlevania, this is like a tiptoe away from like Ark Survival.
Yeah.
It's not that different.
I still think it's fine. Like I like it when, and I haven't played enough Ark and I haven't played Power World at all, but I still think that companies should be able to do that, is copy and innovate.
You can ask our resident survival game expert.
Yeah, freaking Jordan's played a ton of both of them. I would say.
Yeah. And I'm eventually going to jump back into Power World. And I guess my whole stance upon all of this is I kind of ride the line, which I know people hate. Companies should be allowed to protect their IPs, obviously. And just because a company's huge, it shouldn't be a justification for people doing illegal things. And obviously, if Nintendo's copyrighted this or trademarked or patented this game mechanic, I hate it. They can do it. But I also think that companies should not trademark.
Yeah.
Companies should not be able to patent game mechanics, and other companies should be able to innovate upon whatever the game genre is, because some of my favorite games stem from taking different elements from other games back in the day.
I agree with you. I think that's a perfect statement, honestly. The funny part about this whole thing is that I'm more... I guess the word is upset. I'm more upset about Power World using designs that are almost one-for-one Pokemon rather than using a throw a ball catch mechanic thing.
Yeah, you probably need to change some of those.
I hate the fact that some of them are like, oh, that's literally these two Pokemon merged together. Oh, I can literally see this is this part of this Pokemon pretty much one-for-one glued onto this Pokemon. I hate that so much. And I think... the reason I hate it as much as I do is because they actually do have unique characters in that game. Some of them are like, whoa, you came up with this? This is cool. And other stuff's like, oh, that's just Suicune's mane on top of a freaking giraffe rig or something stupid.
See, and I think this goes back to something that we've always talked about. We already mentioned it in the early minutes of this podcast, but when companies are genuinely creative, you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
And then when companies aren't, you can tell.
There's a little pal named, oh, freak, what's his name? It's a Dream something. Anyway, he's like a flying little goat thing. And it's like, the name's clever. I don't remember. It's like a dream goat or I don't know, something. Maybe like a little sheep. It's a sheep. It's a dream sheep. I don't know what the name of it is. But it kind of like floats around. But I'm like, A, it plays off of like you count sheep when you sleep because it's a dream sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And then B, the design looks really cool. It's completely wholly unique in my opinion. I don't know anything else that's like it at all. And I'm like, boom, why don't we have this? This is great. Do more of this. Don't just say, oh, let's make Salazzle because people want to put their wiener inside of it and turn it into even more of a sex fiend.
I wonder if, do you happen to know, either of you, how many pals are in Pal World?
I think it's like around 100. I don't actually know the number though.
Oh, okay.
And like out of the 100, I think it's like something like 5 to 10% of those are unique.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we went through the list. I could point out like the very unique ones, and I could like point out the ones that are like, okay, this is this from this Pokemon, this is this from this Pokemon.
Maybe we should just do a quick little.
And if you like take the models of the Pokemon and the pals and like line them side by side, like it's very pretty obvious at times.
Well, they also had an expansion recently, so
I want images. I don't want. Oh, there we go. Well,
Okay.
That looks like a straight up Pokemon.
So that one, the one you just clicked for a second, almost. So that one, it's got Suicune's shiny color scheme. That doesn't mean anything. It just like reminds you of that Pokemon. But it's specifically a Superior and a oh freak, it's a Primarina. Primarina and Superior combined. The far left one is literally, it's basically just a fake Pokemon design of a Lucario. So years ago, somebody made a regional variant of Lucario to make it look like it was from Egypt, and that's what that is. Like they literally just took that design and turned it into that one.
That's a straight up Pokemon.
That one's very similar to like Bellossom, Lilligant, and Roserade. The one right to its right though is another one. It's very similar to like Meganium and Lilligant. Far to the right is a Gallade mixture with like Hisui and Decidueye. But then here we go. We got freaking Cognito, Chickadee, boom. Really good designs. Really, really good. Or Chickpea, excuse me, not Chickadee. Chickpea. Even like Chillette is pretty dang good, I would say. I'm sorry you guys can't see this. Daydream. That's what it is. That's the little sheep guy. So good. So good. Then Dinosaur. It's Meganium. Meganium with a Ligan's hat. Cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. There's some very, very egregious. Doomud. It's got like Sobble's little fin thing on top.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like Quagsire's design to it. Dire Howl, it's Lycanroc. It's pretty. I think the model is pretty dang close. So here's an interesting one. Fanglope. That one's pretty dang unique, but it's clear that somebody saw Cobalion, the Pokemon, and went, okay, I'm just going to make a new one. A new Cobalion.
Damn, imagine if Diablo copied their formula. We wouldn't have the clearly superior Path of Exile.
Do we know how many? Oh, here's the numbers. I just want to see how many there are specifically.
And a lot of them have like multiple versions of them where they just change the
111.
So they did 111.
They just change like the color scheme. That last one though, Jet Dragon that you're looking at, it's like Mega Salamence and mixed with Latios. Go up a little bit. There's one right above that one.
Monster Hunter formula and rip off real
Yeah,
life.
Frostallion. See that thing on its head?
Mm-hmm.
That's Suicune's main. It's literally 1-for-1 Suicune's main. They just took the model basically and threw it on there.
With a Jagrix from Monster Hunter, they took a Tyrannosaur and a tiger and gave it a dragon body.
A Grisbolt? That one's unique. Clearly, it's inspired from things like Totoro, but like completely unique.
That face looks like a
Gengar almost.
Gengar and Electabuzz. Not Electabuzz.
Electivire?
Electivire, maybe. Yeah.
I think one of the I don't know if this is an issue or it is what it is because Pokemon is so popular. I don't know if there's because obviously, yeah, a lot of them look copyrighted.
There's a handful, like I said, that are clearly inspired, but they're not completely taken from it. But some of them are like, they really just took the model and traced over the top of it and copied it.
Yeah, and the other thing is like Pokemon is so popular that I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind that you would look at something like this and be like, oh, well, of course they would copy Pokemon or take Pokemon's designs because Pokemon is the biggest one. Mm-hmm. So even if we lived in a world where creatures had never heard of Pokemon, nobody would believe that because Pokemon is the biggest.
Yeah. And that loops all the way back to the reason why I think they made the patent in the first place is to protect their image even farther. Because like obviously you look at these creatures and it reminds you of Pokemon, but they look a little off from Pokemon. But then you see them be caught in a little ball. The first thing goes, oh, yeah, it's Pokemon. They're caught in a little ball, just like Pokemon are.
Yeah, I think I see where you're coming from now.
And that's speculation. I don't know if that's actually why they're doing it. I just, knowing the history of the Pokemon company, that's typically why they try to do things. They try to keep their image good.
So I wonder if that's what it is, though. Maybe, who made Pal World? Pocket Pair. Maybe Pocket Pair can settle out of court and just say, okay, we'll change the shape. In my head, anyway, I don't see why that's such a big deal.
Yeah.
Obviously,
they're not going them after the creature designs because they're in a way transformative.
Yeah, I don't think they legally can go after the creature designs. Unless they could prove that they literally did just take the model from their games and then just
that would
like
have to
recolor
literally
them.
Be like,
but you couldn't prove that.
That would have to be an act of corporate espionage.
Yeah, you couldn't really prove it because you could just make the argument, oh, we just used it as reference, you know.
Nintendo will hunt down the hacker, but it's like, hey, we'll let you go if you hack into Pocket Pair's server.
I wonder if that's one of the main reasons why Pokemon, like, I don't know what gen they decided to stray away from just having basic Seal or just very basic Pokemon.
I would argue that they have both in all generations.
I see.
Like you get basic Pokemon
like
and
Wooloo.
then non-basic.
Wooloo's
just a sheep.
So maybe that's why they don't patent all of them or trademark all of them. Like you.
That's
already
probably
mentioned.
a big part of it. Yeah.
Because it's like you're gonna patent a Seal. It's just that's a real animal.
They really exclusively just try to trademark the marketable ones. If I'm being honest, like Pikachu, Charizard, Greninja, things like that. But that doesn't mean like you could just use like a seal in your game and then get away with it. You would be under like that's IP infringement at that point.
I mean, how different is a seal from Pokemon to a seal in real life?
I just mean like you take seal from Pokemon and put it in your thing.
Oh, I see.
I'm not saying you can't use a seal. You can use a seal if you want.
Isn't there a Pokemon like it's similar to Dugong, but it's Duwong or something? It's There's
no Pokemon similar to Dugong like that.
Dugong.
The closest thing would be like a Primarina.
There's an animal called like the sea cow's called
Oh,
Dugong.
you mean like a real thing?
Yeah,
I don't know about a real thing.
Yeah, there's a real creature. I think it's called a dugong. It's a sea cow, like those weird, goofy-looking animals under the sea. That's probably where Mr. Krabs gets his Krabby Pet. I'll look up a picture real quick.
I know like manatees are a thing, but that's not very similar to a dugong. I don't know what a dugong is. I think it's just like a hybrid seal.
This is a dugong. Like this is their goofy face.
Oh yeah, they're ugly. They look like a manatee kinda.
So, what's the Pokemon I'm thinking of though? Is that Duwong or Du?
What's Seal's evolution?
Seal evolves on a dugong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There. How do you spell it?
DEWGONG.
Oh yeah, how you spell this one is DUGGONG.
Oh, I see. So it's same. It's the same thing then, right? Like seal, they spell seal SEEL instead of SEAL. So they just took the word of the animal and like That's a nice little loop back. The English language is terrible because we can just make the same word with different letters.
I wonder how different it is in Japanese, though. It could be completely different. Like, I would argue those are the original names.
I would argue it's worse in Japanese. A lot of the Japanese names, not much anymore, but like Generation 1 Japanese names are really bad. It's like
Charizard's literally just
Lizardon. And then Zapdos, it's just thunder.
The word thunder or Japanese?
The word thunder in Japanese.
Oh, okay. That's silly.
Yeah, it is very silly.
Yeah, that does sound worse.
They get better though. Like they've done a lot better with them.
Yeah, Bulbasaur's name is weird. It's called Fushigi Desne, which is just the phrase. Isn't it weird?
Yeah. And then, but I mean, like you get newer ones. Like Hogator is Fuecoco. I don't know what it means. I just know that's what they say in the anime.
Aren't there Pokemon that like have the same name across several different regions?
Pikachu. Pikachu's the same in every generation.
And also most of the electric mouse pretty much have the...
Yeah, there's some Pokemon they specifically make have the same name in every language. Like legendaries will have the same name in every language, save for Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno.
That was the early days.
Because they were the very first ones. But Mewtwo is the same in every language. Mew's the same in every language. But yeah, everything else after that, legendary-wise, is the same in every language. So they do try to keep them somewhat the same, depending on what they are.
I guess what I'm hoping to get out of all of whatever transpires between Pocket Pair and Nintendo is that companies, whether it be Pocket Pair or anyone else, should be able to innovate upon game mechanics and game genres and make them better. And I just hope that eventually you get to where you cannot patent a game mechanic. Yeah. Because like we already did, we went back in time and just we wouldn't have a lot of the games we have today if game mechanics were able to be copyrighted back in the day. Like ones that I still think are dumb and shouldn't happen, but I also get is like loading screens. I know there was, I can't remember what game it was. Was it Capcom? Namco. They copyrighted being able to play a little game during a loading screen.
Yeah, it's like everyone's like, come on, man. That's fun.
There is one small thing I want to point out. All of these game mechanic patents we've talked about, and that I even know off the top of my head, are pretty dang specific. There's no broad, generic game mechanic. It's not like you can patent a Z targeting, you know.
Right.
I don't think they would be able to patent something like that.
That's just a lock-on with a button.
It's just a video game thing rather than this is our specific mechanic that we're patenting. So I don't know if they would have been able to do things like that, But I still agree. Like, it is silly, the 2 patent game mechanics, just because of that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't develop games. I just like to play them, and I like it when games get better.
My biggest complaint with the whole thing is just how that's just misinformation is just being spread about the Pokemon Company. Everyone just assumes that, oh, they just patent this thing so they could get at Pocket World, when I don't think that was ever the case. Pocket Pair.
Yeah.
So they get at Pal World. I'm pretty sure the whole reason why they even did it in the first place was just to be like, okay, this is the thing that we do. We want to protect this one thing that we do. And then, lo and behold, Pal World shows up all of a sudden while they're patenting it. That is trying to do the thing that they do.
And see, if it really is just the ball, it's like if it's the shape of the object and not the idea of throwing an object at something, it's a little more understandable in my brain.
It could go a little farther. It could be like the over the head throw as well. Like you never played Legends Arceus or really Pal World, so
No,
it's
but
hard
I've seen it. I
Or
know
you have all of a sudden you're over the shoulder aiming like the ball, the object or whatever, and then you throw it. I think it could be part of that as well, not just the ball, but I think the main thing is the ball.
See, I don't even think you should be able to do something like that. What's the difference between throwing the Pokeball over the shoulder and a grenade in a third-person shooting game?
Different outcomes.
True.
It's the specific outcome of catching something after you throw it.
I see.
It's not the fact that you're throwing like a rock.
See, I don't think you should be able to patent that either. I'm thinking more specifically if it is just the shape or the Pokeball itself, very
The
understandable.
Pokeball itself, I think, is patented.
Yeah. I don't think anybody should be able to use a Pokeball itself. But, man, to patent the shape of an object, that's tough for me, man. I don't know if I can wrap my head around it.
It's like throwing a baseball.
And Nicole already made that example. Yeah. But you're not wrong. Like, if it is a spherical object thrown at something and then the creature goes inside, Pokemon is exactly what comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's just, they've branded it so much where you throw a ball at a creature and it goes inside, it's Pokemon, no matter what it is.
Right.
You could see it in anything. Like, that's why they do spoofs of it, like in TV shows where they catch something in a ball.
Yeah.
It's because, like, oh, it's a Pokemon. That's what we're doing. But going back, if it's a square, boom, it's a cage. Now we're just catching squirrels in cages, and it's whatever.
Yeah. I hate it. I do hate it, but I understand it, and I also like it when companies are more creative anyway, so... Yeah, they already have guns at the game.
We literally gave them the idea here. Like, we gave them the optimal solution.
Yeah, the laser gun, just beam them in.
Yep.
Of course, don't try the Fulton extraction, otherwise Konami will get mad.
I don't know what that one is.
That's one where you like just attach a balloon and it goes.
Oh, in Metal Gear.
Yeah.
So in something like Persona, how do you capture the personas?
You talk to them.
You initiate a conversation.
So do they just like fly into you when you win them, or is it just like a little animation?
They like go.
It depends on the game.
Well, it's also I think cards are Persona 3.
Persona 3 and 4, it does do a tarot card.
Yeah.
And like 5, it just shows like the mask, because it's like a new persona you're putting on.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, with the Shin Megami Tensei, it's always been a conversation. That's where they got it from. Like 3 and 4, they tried something different. And then 5 were like, you know what? Let's go to something that actually works, that people like. Conversation. It'd be like one of those choice-based RPGs.
Yeah, so 3. Yeah, good point. 3, you don't talk to them. You do. It just does like a random shuffle. It's like almost like a gotcha pull. Every time you finish a battle, you might get one, you might not. 4 is the same way. 5 is you have to have a conversation with them to get them. I think that's how SMT works as well. Like 4, SMT 4.
Yeah, I think since very first SMT 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's always been like, hey, give me money. Give me help points.
You got to hit the dialogue options more or less to recruit them. But that's Pokemon. I mean, granted, I think SMT was before Pokemon, but I mean, if we're going like that, it's just Japanese turn-based RPGs where you build up a party, and SMT just happens to have creatures like Pokemon does. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to end on a completely different topic and a way happier / sad note.
Wait,
hold on. Happier / sad?
Yeah. You can finish your thoughts if you have more, because this is going to be
Can I
completely
bring
different.
up one thing about a patent? It reminds me of that one time he tried. It wasn't a patent, but he tried to copyright it. This guy made a company called Edge Software, and in the video game sphere, he tried to copy the word edge, similar to how Monster was trying to copy the word monster to go after video games with us. And people like Namco were like, "Oh, we shouldn't we shouldn't call our game Soul Edge somewhere. We should call it Soul Blade." And so they had to change that, and then they later just changed the franchise to Soul Calibur, just so. And then when EA, like years after, when EA finally came up with Mirror's Edge, the guy was like, you can't. I've got the copyright on this word." And then EA's like, "Try us." And they did, and EA won, and then he just left the games industry. And I'm like,
That's funny.
Copywriting a word is stupid, by the way.
Unless
Screw you,
unless you're
Monster.
Candy Crush, I will allow you to copyright the word candy.
They try to
You're
copyright the word saga.
Saga. I'll allow you guys to do that. Go for it.
When millions of games have Square Enix would have been like, "Hey, we got a whole franchise called Saga. Come at us. Come at us."
I'll allow it. They can have it. They make some good video games, Candy Crush and stuff. So
Well, they're owned by Activision now, so they don't even need to.
Wait,
It's like
Candy Crush?
Yeah.
They're owned by Microsoft.
King.
They're owned by Microsoft.
Yeah, they were owned by Activision. They're now owned by
Activision
Microsoft.
Blizzard.
Yeah. They were
Bless you.
brought in
Excuse
when
me.
Microsoft got all the.
So, I watched a movie that Cole told the gamers to watch.
Whoa, there's no way
Yeah.
you watched it.
I didn't
too?
watch it.
I watched it.
Thanks, guys.
I didn't watch it.
So,
Wait, okay. Can I pause? I
Yeah.
gotta get the time frame.
Go
was
ahead.
it after I was like, "Thanks, Luke, you're the only one that watched my movie," or was it before
So,
you had watched it?
I didn't join the Discord the day
You
you
weren't
posted
there
it.
for it. No, yes,
but
you didn't
Luke,
even know about it.
Luke
you do have the past
messaged-
because of that.
Luke mentioned in the Snapchat, he's talked about how he's like, "Cole, that movie you sent me, I cried." And then Luke told me about it the same day, and I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't
Yeah,
see the
because you weren't
post."
there. You were
Right.
gone.
So yesterday, he told me again. He's like, "Yeah, you should watch this." Then you joined the call and talked about it, and you and Luke were talking about it. I'm like, I got to see this because Luke explained the premise to me, and I'm like, I'm in. I want to watch this.
It's
Sounds
so
so
good.
interesting.
It's so fun.
Do you want to give a brief synopsis of what it is, and then I
Yeah.
want to talk about my thoughts?
I don't know the name of the disease, but there's a kid that was born with a muscle dystrophy disease thing that more or less makes it so that the older he gets, the less his muscles function.
Yeah, he atrophied as the older he got.
And so he has to be in a wheelchair his entire life, and he really can't move or much or do anything. Luckily, he's able to play games, and he plays World of Warcraft, and that's kind of his thing. And he lives his entire life up to 25 years, and he dies. And his parents are just like broken up, and like they're just like, "Dude, like, man, I feel so bad. We couldn't give our kid a life." Turns out he did live a life through World of Warcraft. He was able to like meet people, experience life just like the rest of us do, and was able to just live life in his own way. And like the part that really nailed it in was like how every time he would log in at the beginning of his login session, he'd make his character go for a 30-minute jog just around the world just because he could.
Because
And
he
I
had
was
nothing
like,
better to do.
gosh, dude.
And that's
hard.
how, like, while he's doing that run, that's how some people like started to notice him. Like,
Yeah.
what's this freaking dude do? Every day he's running. He does a 30-minute run around the map.
Yep.
And what I found so interesting, and this is something that's always terrified me about role-playing games, because I know myself, I can get completely invested in stuff like this. But seeing something like this, obviously it's a very unique and specific example of this person's life. His name, is it Eblin?
Ebled.
Eblin?
Ebled.
Ed?
Ebled.
I thought it was in, like I-N.
Eblin.
Eblin.
That's it. It's not Ebled. I was wrong.
Anyway,
He was a Dutch guy.
yeah, the part that
Well,
like,
that was his just character name. I don't remember
Okay.
his.
Oh,
His name was
Mats.
his actual name was Mats. Yeah.
Mats Eblin Steen, I think is what it said on his tombstone. Anyway, yeah, like Cole mentioned, his parents thought, man, this kid just did nothing. Like all he did was play video games. He never fell in love, didn't have friends, never socialized. But this kid inside World of Warcraft not only created his own life within that, but his connections in the game affected real people. And the part that just like I teared up. Like I not throughout the entire thing I was like, my God, this is sad and super cool at the same time. But the part that got me at the very end was like during his funeral, his dad's talking and he's like, man, like I thought we failed, but it turns out like our son fell in love. He made friends. He was able to genuinely affect people's lives, albeit through the vehicle of a video game, and his own life. And the part that just like killed me was the girl that he fell in love with was one of the casket bearers, dude. I was just like, tears, man. And then at the very end, it says that every year on his death day, the whole guild gets together and there's like a tombstone. Obviously, this was just made within, like they took the models and created this specific scene. But when that part happened, I lost it, dude. I was like, this is so crazy that all of these people were affected by this man who only lived basically within World of Warcraft because he couldn't live anywhere else. But it was also like the other part that got me too. Sorry for spoiling the entire thing.
Well,
I wanted to talk about this.
It's a real world thing, so it's kind of hard not to spoil a documentary. It's like, oh, you kind of know the conclusion.
And the other part too for me was I was just like, God, like that was the fact that he was crippled, and he didn't tell any of his friends about this until the end when he was dying. But the people that he was friends with and the girl he fell in love with, they got to know the real genuine him without the front of a crippled human being. They got to know his heart and mind of who he truly is without the what's the word I'm looking for? The image. Because I feel like a lot of people, and he mentioned in the documentary, when you see somebody that has a disease or crippled or something like that, he said that people would use big words and talk slow, and he's like, I'm not an idiot. Like, it's my body's broken.
Yeah.
So that to me too was super cool that like they got to know the real him, and the girl that he was in love with. I obviously based upon the documentary, although it's not stated specifically, I'm pretty sure she was in love with him too.
Yeah.
But it was like, dang, dude, it's so cool that the medium of video games has such a powerful way to connect human beings.
I think one of the most unique and interesting parts about it is like most of the time people will play these games and put on a character that they play as, like they hide behind the name on the screen. He didn't. That was his whole thing. He was himself on the screen. He was just trying to be himself. That's super, super cool.
Yeah, I think it's dope. And it's one of those things too, though, where it's like that was his life. The fact that he spent 15 to 20,000 hours within that video game over, what was it, 8 years of him playing, that's who he was. Like the escapism was real because his life, not a lot of stimulation, not a lot of, like he couldn't even eat food anymore. He was just being fed through a tube. So that was his life, was within World of Warcraft. And I just found it so fascinating.
They did a really good job of like animating the character models as well, is because you could tell just by like looking at the background characters, those guys were playing a game. But if you look at Eblin, he was living. He was literally just living life the way he was. Like, just like the silly little things of him just like sitting off in the corner, just sitting down, and like people are just playing the game over here. He's just literally just contemplating things, just sitting down. I'm like, yeah, you do that in real life, but you wouldn't do that in a game. You wouldn't just like, time to walk over to this place in the game and have a sit and just like think about my relationships with people and how they're going, you know? And I'm not saying you can't, and like there's plenty of games where I think I could do it, but there's a disconnect a little bit, I would say. For him, there was no disconnect.
Well, and I think the fact that even just him going on a run was like another layer of immersion for himself and I guess the audience watching, because the dude's in a wheelchair and he can't even like tilt his head up. His head's cranked sideways. He's literally laying back. They had to build special controllers for him to play the game. It's like a stick thing here with a few buttons on it, and then he had this whole circle pad of buttons with a what are those? A trackball. Is that what they're called?
Something like that. Yeah.
So freaking cool. It's so sad, but also like it's stuff like that that is the reason I love video games. Video games are amazing, dude. Like movies are cool, TV shows are cool. There's nothing like a video game, man, where you can interact with other human beings, build genuine connections. Hell, one of our friends that we met online is now living with us, and you know what I mean? Like that's a connection we built, and now the the video game TV guy. He's real.
He's real.
He's real. So I don't know. I love it, dude. Like after watching that movie, I, for one, took a step back and realized how powerful video games are, especially for somebody that. And there's probably lots of people that their real life sucks, and so that's where their escapism is. And I know a lot of people are like people on the outside that don't understand video games are just like bah, 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 humbug, get out of the game. You're like, you know what I mean? But it's like you can build genuine connections and have awesome experiences within a video game. So I don't know. It was just I took a huge step back and really appreciated the medium of video games after that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. You should watch it. What's the name of it specifically?
The Incredible Life of Evelyn.
And I think it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
It's
Yeah.
on Buttflix.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you watched it too.
It's a beautiful movie.
Shout out to give shout outs to Jake, by the way. He's the one that was like, "Cool, want to watch this show with us?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." He was like, "It's really sad." I'm like, "Oh,
Shout out.
okay, well,
Shout
guess I'll
out,
watch
Jake.
it." Yeah, good stuff. A really, really good show. Highly recommend it. Even though we spoiled most of it, like they spoil like the ending, I guess, because like Thane said, a documentary is within like the first 5 minutes of the movie. So, regardless, it's just the journey. You just enjoy it.
Fun ride. And they use, like, his parents filmed him literally playing this game, which obviously they would because that's all he did. He couldn't do anything else. But,
Yeah.
oh man, it's cool. What a ride. Thanks, humanity. Thank you, video games.
Thanks for making me feel good about humanity again.
Agreed.
TV movie thing, documentary.
But I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let us know what your thoughts are about all the things we discussed, and if you liked that movie too. That's the thing I'm actually curious about. I'm correct about the word, so I mean I don't need to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a great one. Keep it rad.
Bye.